So today, friends, I want to share with you some insights on what I believe are misunderstandings on the so-called mystery of birth and death. We normally associate birth with the beginning of a life and death as the ending of a life. But in actuality, birth is the beginning of experience and the storyline, and death is the end of that storyline. In reality, life is not the opposite of death. The opposite of death is birth, and life is the continuum of birth and death. So, if we recognize this, that life is the continuum of birth and death, then life does not end, only experience ends. Or let's say, in our case, a particular storyline of experience ends, a particular storyline in that form. So let's examine the idea that birth and death occur every moment with every experience, and that life or awareness transcends the cycle of birth and death. Let's examine this. Life is an ever-flowing river of experiences, a continuous unfolding of beginnings and endings. Each moment we live is a microcosm of the grand cycle of birth and death. With every new experience, thought, or emotion, something within us is born, while something else fades away. Yet beneath this perpetual flux lies a deeper truth. Our true self, as pure awareness, remains untouched by the transient nature of these cycles. It transcends the dualities of birth and death, embodying the eternal essence that connects us to our infinite self. So, life is not static. It is a dynamic interplay of creation and dissolution. Each moment carries within it the seeds of birth and death. When we learn something new, a fresh understanding is born. But at the same time, an old belief or ignorance may die. Similarly, when we let go of pain or grief, a part of us that clung to a suffering dissolves, making space for healing and renewal. So this process is not limited to grand life events, but occurs in the subtle shifts of our daily existence. A conversation can spark the birth of a new idea while simultaneously marking end of old ways of thinking. A sunset may evoke awe and inspiration while signing the close of another day. These moments remind us that life is a series of constant transformations, a dance between beginnings and endings, or birth and death. Amidst this ceaseless cycle of birth and death lies our true self, pure awareness. Awareness is not bound by time or change. It simply observes without attachment or judgment. While our thoughts, emotions, and experiences arise and fade like waves on the surface of an ocean, awareness remains still and infinite, like the ocean itself. When we identify solely with our body or mind, we can become entangled in the cycle of birth and death at every level. We cling to what is born, be it happiness, success, or relationship, and resist what dies, such as loss, failure, or endings. This attachment creates suffering because we forget that these fluctuations are impermanent. However, when we shift our perspective to recognize ourselves as awareness, the silent witness, we transcend this cycle. In this state, we realize that we are not the waves, but the vast ocean that fluctuates as the waves and contains them. So, the key to understanding the cycle of birth and death lies in cultivating presence. Presence allows us to fully experience each moment without clinging to it, and without clinging to or recoiling, for that matter, to what arises and what must fade away. It invites us to embrace life's impermanence with grace and equanimity. Of course, practices like self-reflection, meditation, mindfulness help us connect with this deeper awareness by observing our thoughts and emotions without identifying with them. We begin to see their transient nature more clearly. We come to understand that every ending carries within it the seed of a new beginning, just as every beginning inevitably leads to an end. Through presence, we also discover that life's beauty lies in its impermanence. Think of a real flower and compare it with a plastic flower. Which one is more joyful and which is more beautiful? The plastic flower or the real flower? The difference is, what's the difference? One is relatively permanent and the other is impermanent. So life's beauty lies in its impermanence. The fleeting nature of experiences makes them both precious and meaningful. So just as a flower's bloom is cherished precisely because it will one day wither, each moment becomes sacred when we recognize its transient nature. So the realization that our true self transcends birth and death brings profound liberation. It frees us from fear, the fear of loss, change, or even physical death, because we come to know that who we are truly cannot be destroyed. Awareness is eternal. It exists beyond time, beyond birth, beyond form, beyond death, and beyond duality. This understanding does not negate the importance of life's experiences, but I would say it enriches them. When we live from the perspective of awareness, we engage with life even more fully while remaining unattached to its outcomes. Unattached means neither attached nor detached to the outcomes. We honor each moment as it arises and let it go when it passes, knowing that what remains is constant in our essence as awareness itself, the non-changing factor in every changing experience. So, birth and death are not distant events confined to specific points in time. They occur continuously within us at every moment. Each experience brings forth something new while letting go of something old, a perpetual cycle that mirrors the rhythm of existence itself. Yet beneath this ever-changing flow lies our true self, pure awareness. Awareness transcends the dualities of birth and death because it exists beyond time and beyond change. By recognizing ourselves as this timeless witness, we free ourselves from attachment and fear, embracing life's impermanence with wisdom and grace. In doing so, we dissolve all boundaries and discover that while everything around us may rise and fall like waves on an ocean's surface, our essence remains as the eternal self, infinite, unchanging, a testament to the profound truth that life's greatest beauty lies in its fleeting yet timeless nature. If this helps, let me know and share it with others. Always grateful for sharing my thoughts with you.